The North African weather doesn't always cooperate. 3 weeks into the dig, a swirling cloud on the horizon means a tough job is about to get a lot tougher.
Drill center. We've got 45 guys working today, and it looks like they're going to be wrapping their faces since it's really, really windy. The wind lifts the dust, and it starts to swirl it up in a kind of a storm. You can't see anything on the horizons here at all.
The archaeologists have little choice but to forge ahead. Most of the year, temperatures during the day average well above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's too hot to excavate.
We're only here for 2 months of the year, or 2.5 months, and you have to make use of every second of the day. Weather conditions be damned.
Though it's rough on the team, the storm brings one blessing: relief from the burning rays of the sun. In the cooler temperatures, workmen make swift progress clearing the temple. The following morning, skies are clear, and with the calm after the storm comes their first clue to the origins of the ancient city.
That's great. Salah.
Yes. A cartouche.
Only royalty was allowed the privilege of encircling their name with the symbolic oval shape called a cartouche. The form of a rope tied together at the end was thought to protect the imperial name from harm.
And that's what we have here. We have the bottom of the oval, and this is one of the letters. Of course, the king's name has many letters, so we just have one tiny clue here.
If you found the name of the king in the sanctuary, that means this is the man who built the temple.
This is a very, very important piece. Now we need to try and find the rest of the name, and hopefully it'll be here somewhere, because this piece obviously came off of something.
Though Julie and Salah don't know exactly who built the Amun temple at Dangail, they suspect it dates back some 2,000 years to the Meroitic period. This was Nubia's golden age, when the great kings ruled from Meroe and were buried in the royal cemetery in tombs with a familiar form. Influenced by their proximity to Egypt, the Nubians admired the massive tombs at Giza and began burying their royalty in pyramids of their own. They adapted the shape, favoring a much steeper-sided pyramid. Adjoining offering chapels were richly carved with scenes representing the comfortable afterlife of the king, attended by his many servants. Not only kings are buried in the pyramids of Meroe. After the 3rd century BC, a series of strong queens occupied the throne and may have been co-regents. One of the most powerful ruled near the time of Christ, just before the temple at Dangail was probably constructed.
Amani-Sheketo is a really powerful Nubian queen. She's carrying bows and arrows. These are traditionally the accoutrements of a man. She's got prisoners tied up. There's a good possibility that she actually fought off the Romans.
In 23 BC, Roman soldiers attacked the Nubian kingdom. According to their accounts, the Nubian resistance was led by a valiant woman, blind in one eye, who scholars believe may be Amani-Sheketo. The queen successfully stopped the Romans from overtaking her kingdom, and even brokered a favorable peace treaty. Though faint, traces of Amani-Sheketo's imposing figure can still be seen on the walls of her offering chapel.
She's a larger woman, so it shows how powerful she is. It's also part of the Meroitic impression of beauty. She's well-fed. She's wearing a lot of bracelets on her arms, rings on her fingers. She would have been covered in gold. She was a very lucky lady to have a lot of this jewelry.
Amani-Sheketo's royal cache first came to light in 1834, when an Italian explorer, Giuseppe Ferlini, traveled to the Sudan, eager, as he claimed, to make some useful contribution to history. In fact, he was really searching for gold. Fellini hoped to make a fortune selling antiquities back in Europe. His greed led him to the pyramid fields of Meroe. According to his diary, Fellini directed his workmen to dismantle Amanishiketo's tomb at nearly 100 feet high, one of the best preserved in the cemetery. While his men labored under the punishing rays of the desert sun, Fellini took it easy in the shade. The excitement began when a faithful servant summoned him from the top of the pyramid.
I got up and raced over, my heart filled with hopes of some delightful adventure.
At the summit, Fellini reported that his men had discovered a chamber hidden beneath the stones. From within emerged a bronze bowl filled with objects wrapped in cloths of linen. Fellini had hit the jackpot.
As it became evening, I brought the discovered objects to my tent, and after all the servants had given over to sleep, I pulled out the precious objects and studied them with my soul filled with joy. I admired the gold, and on seeing the quantity of it, I realized it had to exceed greatly all that which I knew was spread through the museums of Europe.
Fellini had discovered a dazzling hoard of jewels. Today, much of this cache is housed in Munich's Egyptian Museum. Gold bracelets covered with decorative bands of fused glass. Ornamental pendants bearing images of the gods. And dozens of heavy gold rings, some incised with the figure of Amun.
This is one of the greatest treasures ever found in Nubia. It gives us a very good idea of what the kings and the queens would have been wearing at the time.
Though Fellini's raid did bring the incredible cache to light, a price was paid for the discovery. The explorers' ruthless quest for gold destroyed Amanishiketo's pyramid. In the outer courtyard of the Amun temple at Dan Gale, another story of destruction may be unfolding. These ruins, too, may be the product of something more than just the ravages of time.
This temple seems to have been abandoned for some reason, and we're not quite sure why.
From beneath the ground comes evidence of a catastrophic moment in Dan Gale's history.
It's part of a roof beam. It's a long piece of palm wood, but it's been incredibly badly burned. You can see this is charcoal, and you can see actually little bits of the palm beam breaking up as it's disintegrating. We're actually finding the real part of the roof beam that fell in after a big, big fire in this forecourt. It must have been a terrible, terrible fire because the burning is so extensive. And you can see traces of this fire on the columns, on the floor, and we actually have a piece of it preserved. Finding an extensive layer of burning does give us a good clue as to why people left the area. Maybe it was a big war, maybe the temple accidentally caught fire.
However it started, the fire must have been fierce enough to cause the evacuation of the temple, and maybe the entire city. But what may have been a disaster for the Meroites has proven to be a blessing for Julian Sala.
Everything underneath the layer of the fire that was on the floor surface has been completely sealed. This creates a time capsule. We have a specific moment in time preserved for us that we can see.
If Julian Sala's theory is correct, that moment in time may correspond with the final days of the Nubian Empire. Scholars know little about this period, but excavations at Dan Gale could help explain how and why the powerful kingdom came to an end. To learn how the empire first began, we must look to monuments farther north.